Darren, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Chris. Are you well?
Fantastic. Good to see you.
You too, mate. You too.
How's the weather there? I'm sure you enjoying summer.
Yeah, well, it's still technically spring, but it's probably the best. It would be the best summer we've ever had, even if it was summer. Yeah, it's just incredible. We've been in a heat wave. It's hopefully going to last quite a while yet as well. So, yeah, it's been good. With obviously everything that's going on with the lockdown, it's just what we've needed. To be honest, it's given us a much needed boost. But yeah, a lot different to the normal rain we have this time of year.
Definitely, I can imagine. This side as well. We've had probably our coldest snap the last week now, going down to single digits, which for you guys is a norm. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
we
hard to
struggling
feel
this
sorry
side,
for
but
you.
that's
Yeah,
that's
I
part
don't
of
feel
it.
too sorry for you, mate.
Pardon?
I said I can't. We can't feel too sorry for you. You normally get the good end of it. So
Yeah, well, we only have the cold weather for 2 months of the year, so we're not going to moan too much, eh?
no, no, don't rub it in.
Fantastic. Darren, I went through your website, your new website you're launching next week. I don't know if you want to tell the guys a little bit more about it. And yeah, it looks great. I must be honest, really looks exciting.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's something we've been working on sort of over a lockdown period. So just want to sort of jazz things up. That should say should it's sort of 99% ready now. So we'll be getting the new website out say some stage next week. So really excited for that. And it's good to be active, obviously, with everything that's going on at the moment.
No, definitely. I think the lockdown has its positives in certain ways, with obviously allowing guys to get the back stuff, so backroom stuff done, and that being the website being one of them. I'm sure we're also working on ours, so hopefully it gets loaded soon, and then we can nearly do it at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Definitely. So I wanted to ask you, what got you into being an agent, Darren?
Um, it's a bit of a long story, really. I um, sort of played semi-professionally myself, minor counties. Went out to Australia, was overseas, and then went to university. And so I was always playing sport, playing football, cricket predominantly. And and then I worked as a sports journalist for a while, and I sort of did interviews with some of the players, local players who I knew anyway well. And a few of them we got chatting to and sort of said, "Oh, would you help us out with clubs?" I mean, I'm going back 20 years now. So we started doing that, and it was playing like Imran Tahir. Imran played for the I was captain of a club where Imran played, and um, and it just sort of built really over time in terms of well, quite quickly we had quite a lot of players, say from our area, which sort of Indian Pakistani guys who wanted to come over and, as they play in English cricket. So when it just built and built, and I worked for a sports law company called Beswicks, and they got a cricket department in place as well. We got players sort of like Mushtaq Ahmed, Steve Fleming, Nathan Astle, Shane Bond. There was a lot of good names there, and we just sort of built it, very quickly built it up from there, really.
Yeah, fantastic. And then you obviously went your own way a few years ago, and obviously started Vitae Sports. What made you do that? What sort of drove you to move away from a corporate like Bizwex and move into your own sort of thing?
Yeah. Basically, we were doing football and cricket. I'd spent a lot of time doing the football, which was good in some ways and not in others. It's not something we've written off that we would never do again. But yeah, I think with football, it's become a very cutthroat business. I'd always, as I said, I've probably always been a bit more predominantly cricket anyway from my own background. And a lot of the players in cricket were good friends who I'd grown up playing with. Most of them all have pretty much have retired now and are either in coaching roles or long gone due to my old age. And so, yeah, I think, like as I said, I'd gone more down the cricket route. The company I was at had gone more down the football route. So it just seemed a sensible parting of a ways, really.
Okay.
And something, something obviously everyone would like to do. So got great support from all the clients. We left on good terms, and sort of all the cricket guys come with us, and so we kind of started with a great um, a great sort of background instantly. when we started sports.
Yeah, so you've got guys like Ashley Giles on board, which is one of the world-renowned names at the moment, obviously heading up England cricket, and I'm sure he's got a lot on his plate. And I want to ask you, our situation here, we just found out yesterday that we're allowed to start training pro sport from next week onwards. So that means our national side and probably some of our franchise sides can get going and start actually training in that. But what's the state of cricket there in the UK? I get that question all the time, and I must be honest, I hear certain things and then I get going completely the other way. So club cricket and then obviously professional cricket as well.
Well, I think in terms of club cricket, I don't think there's I wouldn't expect any overseas players to be coming over at all. I don't think there'll be any serious cricket. Possibly there'll be no cricket at all. People can go out training and coaching one-to-one. I just can't see anything starting before August. And then in club cricket, I just think I won't say what's the point, because obviously if I was the young 19-year-old Darren Long, I'd be desperate to get out there and play in any match. But for a lot of, it's not going to be able to be too serious. Say there'll be no overseas, that's an almost certainty, I would think. And it'll just, also, I don't know what, if you won't be able to have showers, share changing rooms, will you have to wear gloves? There's a lot of things, but you're going to make it difficult. So, I mean, hopefully we do get some cricket on for the young players, but it's not going to be as we know it usually. And it's going to be an incredibly watered down version, if anything at all. In terms of the pro game, things are better there, obviously. There's been a lot of worry that there'd be no cricket domestically at all, and that is still a possibility. We've just put it back to the 1st of August, which I don't think anything before that was ever realistically going to happen anyway, so that's not necessarily a negative. So at the minute, I mean, we've seen where they've looked at a very watered down county championship and the Vitality Blast, potentially going into October, which I don't think would be a big problem. So we could probably get, I'd say, maybe 10 to 12 weeks of a season in. The internationals, I would say, will go ahead. Financial reasons, they'll desperately need to do that to get TV money. Don't think the TV money will play such a big part in things like the Blast. Definitely, obviously not the Championship. Yeah. So in that case, and unfortunately, most decisions now are all finance-driven, Chris, for everyone, just purely with what's happened with the coronavirus. So the problem is getting these biosecure, getting replaces biosecure. It's costing that much money, and then obviously we can't get much gate money in from the crowd. So it's real tough decisions. Hopefully, really hopefully, and now I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm hoping we'll get going in August if things carry on going well with coronavirus.
No, definitely. So what would be the effects of that? I mean, the coronavirus obviously affecting the world, but I mean, are the contracts then from this season just going to be pushed on to next year, or you don't know yet? I thought you might have some inside info from the guys.
Yeah, no, in terms of overseas players, obviously, again, was a lot which have been cancelled already. So I think the general thought there is a lot of the counties have been good, as in, if we can get these guys back next year, then that's what we're aiming to do. And the guys have the players have been really understanding as well. So it's not just about getting every player, but there's a big picture here, which is making sure the game of cricket comes out well out of this and isn't damaged irreparably. So, so in terms of the overseas guys, obviously it can't always happen, but hopefully the contract will sort of go on to the next year. Obviously, the 100, the big decisions on now. Don't know what will happen there, whether they'll roll the contracts over. I've got a feeling they'll probably roll over some of the contracts because we can retain up to, I think, 10 players. So we might do it that way. In terms of domestic players, they won't roll the contracts over. They couldn't really do that. I mean, some players will be in the last year of the contract and may not wish to be rolled over. But again, my main worry is for the sort of young lads who were in the last year. This is their chance to prove themselves. But all of a sudden, they're not going to have a chance to prove themselves, And those are the guys who are probably not going to get any cricket, even if it does start in August, because they'd be fringe players. So you've just got to hope the counties then are like, look, you're not on a massive wage. we'll give you another year to prove yourself. And I think most will do that as long as they can.
I think it's only fair to do that. So yeah, that would be great for the players. I mean, let them shine, let them have that one chance to make right, or to put their names in lights, So on the virus again, do you think it's going to have a negative effect on cricket going forward for the next year or two? All cricket. Let's just talk cricket overall, around the world.
Yeah, it's got to, hasn't it? I think I think the cricket world is in a really good place. Certainly from England, we obviously got the 100. From a selfish point of view, we'd had the World Cup, we know, great Ashes series, and youngsters coming through the game. Hopefully, everyone comes back wanting to play sport more than ever, and I'm sure we will. Financially, it's going to knock it back a bit. You just got to hope this goes as quickly as possible, and we can get sport back. How is it for South Africa, Chris?
Yeah, look, at the moment, it's not really affecting anyone, to be honest. I know everyone would love to get on the park and just to get training and hitting balls. And the reality of it is that it's not going to happen, obviously, until minimum next week for the top end guys. But I mean, South Africa's side, if we can get out there by August, September, maybe even towards the end of the year, I think we're still in good stead. The country's cricket's really grown the last few years. The MSL has really sort of gone from strength to strength, and the overseas players are absolutely loving it. So we're looking forward to another tournament this year, if that goes ahead as well. And then the positive side of that is we're possibly going to have 2 more sides as well, which opens up a few more opportunities for the youngsters again. If we won't have overseas, at least we're going to have a lot of youngsters shining under the lights, like I said. So let's hope that really goes well. We can only hope for that to go well.
I think we will be. I was having a chat the other day and saying that I think we're probably going to be a really good opportunity for the sort of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds who are probably going to push through quicker. So, yeah, there's probably a group of players who don't realise it, but are going to benefit from this quite a lot, I would say, in the future.
Yeah. Definitely, they, like I said, it all falls in their hands now, so they can have a very long career if they get it right soon. If they slip up, then unfortunately they're going to have to just wait their turn. But positives all around. I mean, if you look for positive, I'm sure you can find it even in the darkest place. So, yeah, just keep your head above water,
Yeah, definitely.
You've got a great philosophy with Vitae Sports, and I'm sure you had it at Beswick's as well. I want to know a little bit about your philosophy and you forming partnerships around the world, obviously with Saya Corps and Tala in Pakistan, ourselves here in South Africa, and obviously Dan with Club Vitae. So, yeah, I would like to just hear some of your philosophies and how you're going about building this empire that you're building.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and it's big. It's a big thing for us to, one, you want to have a global reach, obviously, around the world. And we've got consultants who help us out, sort of in America, and guys who help us out, say New Zealand, Australia. But we've got these 2 fantastic partnerships with yourself and with Tala, and it's really just built on trust, basically, Chris. It's just it generally is. It's just finding the right people. I'm sure just like you, we get approached by people on a weekly basis who want to work with us, and it's just such a big decision when you're going to make that sort of plunge. So it's just great for us that we've got someone on the ground in South Africa. You've got someone on the ground in UK. Same with Asia and around the world. And again, you've got your own good network around the world, and we have. So it's great that we can cover every tournament basically, and it just gives us a good reach, and it's all about building contacts and having trust. Again, we look after a lot of coaches around the world, and it just really helps. I mean, that sort of happened. That sort of happened, with, say, a lot of our players we've represented them and we've become coaches when they finish. So it just helps you as you mature as a company, that you get those relationships. So yeah, our philosophy it is massively built on just dealing with people we can trust. I always say a lot of our players come to us via other players, word of mouth. That's our sort of main recruitment, really. And whenever a player rings me up and they'll be like, "Hey, Longy, would you represent such and such?" And I can honestly say my first question is always like, "What are they like as a person?" And my experience is that, you know, if you're a great player but a bad person, whether it's football, cricket, I'm
Yeah.
just not
No.
interested because it very rarely ends well.
Mm.
You know, again,
No.
if the players have 6 agents or something like that, it kind of, you know, your alarm bells start ringing.
For sure.
Equally, you know, if it's just a really good person you're dealing with, and you know, if the career doesn't work out, that's fine. You're more than happy to help them out. So yeah, it's just trust, really, Chris, is the big thing
That's
I would
it.
say.
No, definitely. I think we're in the same boat this side. It's all about relationships and trust and, you know, like-minded people. I mean, that's where we're going with it, and just try and forge forward together. So, yeah, massive for us, and it's lovely to have partners like you abroad. And,
Thank
you
you.
know, beyond just work relations, I think a friendship is being built. So, yeah, that's important, you know.
Yeah,
I've got,
very
I've
much
got
so.
I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Personal question. You got a young
Okay.
family at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're busy with the business full time. What sort of strengths do you find, you know, balancing the family life and the business life, and especially when you're on the road, you know, to see clients and
Do you mean now or generally?
that? Generally, let's say generally.
Well, let me tell you, it was a lot easier balancing it generally when I was on the
Yeah.
road than it
Yeah.
is now. Yeah, right now we've got an 8 and a 5-year-old, and my wife works. She works for Vitae Sports, but also she works part time for a local university. So she's got her hands full. I've got my hands full, and then we've got the sort of homeschooling. I don't know if I call it schooling right now. I think just home stopping them from killing each other. I
Correct.
think
Correct.
would be a better way of putting it. So yeah, it's pretty stressful at the minute, mate. I'll be honest. I'm looking forward to the schools opening again.
No.
Generally, work-life balance. Yeah, it's good. It's good in many ways. You're on the road a lot, like you say, but you know, it's the family, you know, always comes first. That's for sure.
Yes.
You know, you can be on away trips abroad, which you know is often hard to leave the family, particularly when we're young. But saying that, you know, it's a pretty flexible job. So
Yes.
and you know, winter particularly, you know, you get a lot of time with your children, and so yeah, it's good. I just try make sure we've got a good balance. Basically, you've got to. You know, you could spend 24 hours a day doing this job, Chris, as you know, and you know, your phone, you are, you know, you're pretty much available, you know, every hour you're awake, aren't you?
Correct.
So it's good. I have no complaints about it. There's obviously odd spells at certain times of year where you really got a lot going on, but overall, it's a good job.
Definitely, yeah. I think, yeah, in South Africa in the winter's our quietest time. So fortunately, we get to spend a lot of time with the families now, going closer towards season again. And then especially the back end of season when contracting starts, that's when the chaos really begins, you know. So January to March, April is our crazy time. And, yeah, we've just passed that. So fortunately, a little bit of downtime during lockdown helps quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I think the odd one sometimes when you're working from home as well is, and you're on the phone and the little one's coming up to you and Daddy, you're always on the phone, and it's hard. You kind
No,
of you don't quite
definitely.
understand that. So I think you kind of almost better being out of the way in them times and spending friends.
For sure, for sure. Shame, man. But I remember the other day I was on the phone with you, and you had to get your approval from a photo he drew or a drawing he drew of boots, soccer boots, or something like that. So that's brilliant. I mean, just the ability to have them around and the time that you have to put them up front there is important. So yeah, that's great. Darren, we need to get you out to South Africa sometime. I mean, when all of this passes by, I said to you, we've got to take the whole family into the bush. So you must give me times and we'll arrange it accordingly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we definitely. I think my wife's keen to get on that trip as well. So yeah, we'll all get over. And likewise, you're more than welcome to the UK, mate. We'll put
Always.
you up and look after you.
Thank you so much. And it will be a very cheapish trip for you guys because the rand to pound dollar, rand to pound at the moment is ridiculous. So you guys will have a great trip here in South Africa. But yes, definitely. Thank you, Darren. Appreciate that. And we'll definitely take you up on that offer.
Yeah, we'll get you around to a few of the grounds, and yeah, we'll get you meeting quite a few people.
Fantastic. Maybe with 100, something like that can be sorted.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, with a few of the sporting agents boys playing in it, mate.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. We hold thumbs. I know we have three of the ladies signed up already. So
Yeah,
we'll try to get
yeah,
some of the guys up, and then we get going.
yeah, yeah, definitely. How's the women cricket? Has that been affecting any different to the men's, Chris?
So obviously they have lost, well, already two of their series, their home inbound series here, and unlike other countries, we quite how do you say it, separated. You know, we're not all together. The country's quite large, so before any series, we would need to get the ladies together and obviously train a week or two prior to the series that starts. And this time is like I say, great because they're all getting a break on their bodies and that. But I mean. The actual downside is they're missing out on training. You know, like and I would say that they would need it the most. You know, they really right up there. They're competing with the best in the world. I mean, they got very close to winning the World Cup this year. And if they had to keep going, I mean, we can only imagine where they'll be in the next 6 to 8 months. But yeah, this has obviously put them back a little bit. But we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. You know, what comes up. I'm sure they'll be training from next week as well. Well, we can only
Yeah.
hope that they'll be training from next week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've obviously got a fantastic team. I was chatting to a couple of people in the women's game earlier this week, actually, who were saying like the talent in South Africa is immense, and they could see them dominating the game quite possibly in the very near future and onwards.
Definitely, definitely. We got so many youngsters coming through here. The only thing is we wish we had a more sort of sound public structure, if you will. We do have provincial cricket in that, but no one really follows it. There's not a lot of exposure to it. But if they can sort of sort that out and get more exposure for the ladies locally, I think yeah, the sky's the limit for them, you know.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Chris, yeah, I've noticed when we obviously speak about your clients and our own, you seem to be getting a lot of real good young ones on board at regular
Definitely.
at the moment. So yeah, how is it looking sort of from the youth cricket coming up in South Africa? There's always a bit of a question mark with South Africa through various issues.
Yes, yes.
It's really exciting when some of the players you mention, and I see a lot of guys are going to you for obvious reasons. So
Yeah.
how's that side of the cricket looking?
No, look, it's the school cricket generally in South Africa is really strong. There's a lot of emphasis on growing the game from the ground roots level. And with that being done, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of exposure, which, like I said, the women are unfortunately missing out on, is going into that. And we're producing professional cricketers all the time, so much so that there's not enough teams locally here to sort of house them all. And they end up going now currently to America because they're obviously starting their system there. New Zealand's a big pulling draw card, and then obviously UK used to be, but it's not as much anymore because of obviously the restraints those guys have to get in there. But it's actually incredible, and from my background on the coaching side, you know, being a high-profile coach and working with a lot of youngsters and continuously doing so, we sort of see the youngsters coming through, and I mean, the model that we use to sort of identify them and then sort of nurture them into the positions and guide them through their careers is great. And I think that's one of the draw cards that we have. You know, we just sort of mentor the guys from under 15 level or 15 years old right through, and that's been working well. But the cricket in general, the young cricket in South Africa is really getting stronger through all facets and through all levels. So we're quite excited and we're very fortunate about that.
Yeah, good. So we'll be able to look forward to a lot of guys coming over in the future.
Definitely, we hope so. We hope to you know, win a World Cup one of these days. So let's hope the youngsters can come through and do that for us. You know.
Yeah, good. I know like, we mentioned Club Vitae earlier with Dan. Is the English club cricket scene still seen as like really important to South African players?
Massively. So all my other chats that I've been having on Wednesday and Saturday evenings, I ask all the guys that have played there abroad, and they can't sort of recommend it enough. You know, they absolutely love it, and they recommend it to everyone that they speak to. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys will now miss out because they obviously played, you know, provincial cricket here locally, so they miss out on that for the first 3 or 4 years. But with that being said, they sort of line it up then for after university. So they'll then stay local for 3-4 years until that sort of period passes, and then they'll obviously try to get over to play there. But I mean, the amount of learnings and that happens overseas, and the players we receive back after playing there, even if it's not in the best league, we receive men back. You know, we send boys over. I always say we send boys over, and we receive men back. So it's actually, yeah, I can't promote it enough myself. You know, it's one of my big things. I try to push a lot of youngsters that way. So hopefully we can continue to do so with Dan for the next, I don't know, however many years we go.
Yeah, yeah, no, I do think it's a great experience for overseas players from anywhere around the world. If you use it right, it's and likewise the other way. You know, English players going out to countries around the world as well. It's a key development, I think. And as you said, it's not just the playing side; it's a maturity and mental side as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree. It's if we could do this through all countries, I mean, imagine the sort of players we'll start developing, not just for South Africa, around the whole world. If they can have exposure at being 18, 19 years old and playing in Australia, in New Zealand, in West Indies, it would be absolutely incredible scenes, you know.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
It would. But anyway, such is life, and we've got to deal with our current situation, which is getting through this lockdown, and your side too. So, yeah, from my side again, Darren, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Always great to catch up, Chris.
Definitely. And if you need anything in the next few weeks, please shout. And you know me, I'll always shout as well.
Yeah, no, well, we're preparing for that trip to come over to see you.
Please do. Please do. We're welcome anytime.
Marvellous. Chris, thanks very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, and regards to the family.
You too. Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Keep well. Cheers.
Yeah, bye-bye.